Hello, everybody, and welcome to It Came From the Radio. This is our 49th live show, courtesy of the East Meadow Public Library. We're coming to you live virtually distancing. I'm here with our Pronto Comics Dominic Definition Man Serrano.
Hello, everybody.
We have from D Life with Jenny G, Jenny Feldy.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night. See you later. See you now.
And we have our special guest, Ken Deep from LI Who.
Hi, everybody.
All right, so this is being recorded on our YouTube page, and we're going to start the show right now.
The following is brought to you in part by MFC Studios. The views of the show's host and guests do not necessarily reflect those of the management, owners, or staff of this radio station. And now, it came from the radio.
Yapatoy, and welcome once again to It Came From the Radio, the official of the Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres speaking. We are here via virtual distancing for our 49th live show, courtesy of the East Meadow Public Library. I am here with none other than the Life of Genergy's Jenny Feldy.
Hello.
We're here with our very own Pronto Comics, Dominic Definition Man Serrano.
Good evening, East Meadow.
There we go. And we have our special guest who we're talking to, with, and about, which is awesome because he's here. It is the master of the Long Island Doctor Who convention, Ken Deep.
Hello, everybody.
So, but before we do any of that, we have to take it away with the news. The news is brought to you in part by the fine folks of sci-fi.radio. That's sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. As well as the fine folks of Cosmic Comics and Games of Baldwin, New York. That's your one-stop shop for comics and collectibles. Give Chuck a call at 516-763-1133. And the fine folks at the Big Apple Con, of which we are the official radio show of, celebrating over 25 years of comic bookness and pop culture stuff. For more information, go to www.bigapple.cc.com. Their next convention is on March 26th of 2022. No headliners have been announced as of yet. And we want to give our shout outs for our Patreons, of which there are Danny Grillo, award-winning director Jared Perel, Kyle Horn, Millie Portes, Newsday famous Dresden Media, Unjikun, Shadow Rabbit Art, The Huracan, Yasmin Array, and Rosa. If you want to have your own little shout out, go to our website, www.itcamefromrio.com. There's a little button to be a Patreon, and just for $1 a month, you get a shout out on our show. Normally, we start off with the sad news, but there's no sad news this week. So we're just going to go with not as sad news. Yes, no sad news this week. No sad news.
Some things must be wrong.
No sad news to report, I should say.
How is this possible? I don't believe it.
So let's see. We'll start off with the easy one. From the That's a Lot of Nuts department. The new James Bond film, No Time to Die, has taken the #1 spot in a domestic box office, pulling in $62 million, easily beating out last week's #1 film, which was Venom, which made an additional $35 million at the box office. For those of you keeping track, Shang-Chi is still the highest grossing film of 2021 with $213 million, followed by Black Widow at #2 with $183 million. No Time to Die, during its first week, comes in at #12 of the highest grossing films of this year. Of note, No Time to Die, much like Shang-Chi, is only available to see legally in theaters, while Black Widow is available to be seen on Disney Plus for an additional fee on top of whatever you're paying for the service. Keep in mind that these numbers do not reflect the revenue made from the streaming service. Did any of you guys get to see James Bond?
No.
No.
Well, I'm still with you in the just because it's open doesn't mean you have to go.
Okay.
Feeling. I do love James Bond. I've liked Daniel Craig as James Bond, but no, I haven't gone to see it. Actually, I believe Black Widow is now available. You can watch it without
paying the extra. Without paying the extra, yes.
Yeah. So I will watch that now.
All right. Ken, you're a James Bond fan?
I am, and I saw it on Monday. It was fantastic.
So
knew it.
on a rate of 1 to best James Bond ever, where does it go? Where's this fit in there?
Well, it is an excellent James Bond. It was probably my second favorite of the Daniel Craig. I loved his first one in Casino Royale. But when you rate things like that, you're rating it against your favorite memories. The first one you saw, the thing that made the impression, and so it takes a hell of a lot for you to take a new movie and put it on top of one that you saw as a kid and you were like, man, this is great. But it was incredible. And one of the James Bond authors that I follow on social media, I think he said something like, I feel sorry for someone whose first introduction to Bond is this, because it's kind of atypical. It does some things a little bit differently and deliberately so, and that's what makes it different and fun. And yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm trying to do it as spoiler free as I can.
Yes. I've heard stuff. So I don't want to say anything. So moving on, from the sequel department, a fourth, that's 4, Expendables movie is now in the works, with Jason Statham, Sylvester Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, and Randy Couture already signed in to reprise their roles from the previous installments of the franchise. Adding that to the already bloated cast will be none other than 50 Cent, Hot Megan Fox, Tony Jaa in unspecified roles. Executives say, we're thrilled for the next installment of the Expendables franchise. It's so much fun to bring back these stars together for no-holds-barred action film. This new film will raise the stakes to be the biggest, most badass adventure ever. The Expendables are back, and we couldn't be more excited to bring this star-studded, action-packed film to the big screen to keep things fresh and fun. We've added exciting new stars to join the veterans. Popcorn entertainment is guaranteed. You're a fan of the Expendables, Jen?
No, I sound expendable. Sounds like it could be negligible. No,
right.
I no. I never really gave them a try, so no offense.
All right, Dominic?
I like the Expendables movies a lot, actually. They're a lot of fun. They're what Stallone is really good at. 80s action movies. And he just happens to have, it's an 80s action plot with 80s action heroes. That's why everyone's so old in the movie. But it's also their way of proving, like, we can still do this. Like, Stallone's tougher than most people realize. Like, the dude gets blown up in his own movies for real, and he's like, oh, keep going.
Yeah, I think he hurt himself when he filmed the first Expendables. I think he either broke his neck or his back or something, which actually made the movie better.
It was in a scene with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Austin slams him. I think he broke his neck. There's a picture of him and Schwarzenegger both in the ER in the hospital, like laughing, like with tubes all in them and everything. And that was from, I think, Expendables 3. Personally, I hope they bring back some of the people that were in Expendables 3 that were in like the new crew,
right?
Like Ronda Rousey and not Chris Helmsworth's brother. He was in Expendables 2 and gets killed off. But
spoilers,
dude, it's Expendables 2. This was out like a decade ago.
Expendables in the title, somebody's gonna die.
Exactly, that's the whole point. They're Expendables.
Ken, you're an Expendable fan as well?
No, actually, I was kind of taken by Jen's franchise idea. I want to be part of the negligibles.
Yeah, the negligibles.
Hoping that like Frank Stallone is in that. And, who else can we get? Like all the siblings of the big stars.
I like that. The son of the Sopranos. Oh my God, I can't think of anyone's name.
Yep,
Michael Gandolfini.
There we go. We go.
You have to have like Stephen Baldwin in there then.
I forgot his name.
All the Baldwins.
I would only have Stephen Baldwin if he was the bad guy.
Billy Baldwin has a legit career unto himself, kind of doing like Hallmark level stuff, but still a legit career. It's really Stephen and Daniel Baldwin who are just like the family, like Fredos, if you will.
Which Baldwin is in all like the movies of faith? Because he would be my bad guy.
I think
Stephen Baldwin.
Stephen. He's the into religion.
He's the bad guy. He's like the Bond villain.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So moving on for more sequel news from they're still trying to make this movie department. Once again, talk of the twin sequel has started to make rounds, with this time none other than Tracy Morgan as the third sibling. For those of you who do not know, remember, or care, Twins was a 1988 film starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito as, you guessed it, twins. The new film is to have the aforementioned stars returning, as well as the original director, who was Ivan Reitman, for those keeping track. Ivan says, Twins was quite successful, and after some years, this whole thing started with Arnold meeting Eddie Murphy, and a suggestion came for him to be one of them. It was, I should be a triplet, that you could be a very funny comedy. We started as a script with Eddie, and after the success he had with Amazon Prime on Coming to America Part 2, he got himself booked up heavily, and we knew we were going to make it at the beginning of next year. I had been good friends with Tracy Morgan for a long time, and always thought he was one of the funniest men in the world. I thought he would make a terrific triplet, and we wrote the entire script for him. Now we'll go out and try to put money together and get it made. They don't know about each other and are very early in the movie, and we'll meet how they are. They don't know each other, and very early in the movie they'll meet, and it's how they achieve a bond together after all these years. It's really a film about family, and no matter how different we all are, we have to learn to get along. These guys have great chemistry together, and you can see that in real, no matter how much energy you bring out in each other. You guys fans of the movie Twins?
I liked what I remember. I liked it then. It's been a long time, right? How long
Yeah,
has it been?
88.
30 years? 20 years?
Yeah, I got to agree with Jen on that.
Almost 30.
I
Wow.
don't remember the last time I watched it, but I know I've seen it, and it was funny. I mean, come on, just the idea of Danny DeVito and Schwarzenegger being twins. It's a genius idea right there.
I saw that in the
Mhm.
theaters, and I think that was the only time I've ever seen that movie.
Well, that's because you're old, Mark.
What about you, Ken? You're a
The
Twins
first thing to
fan?
do in a crisis situation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I rented it on VHS at some point in 1989, probably.
So
Beta, maybe beta.
That might be on beta, might even be on Laserdisc.
It might have been from the Blockbuster that Mark worked at.
That's true. I did work in many blockbusters in Long Island. You probably were there at the same time. Now you made me sad.
Mm,
So moving on from the What Would Brian Boitano Do department. South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone just signed a new deal with Viacom CBS and MTV Entertainment Studios to bring not only one, but 6 more seasons of the series to television and 14 quote unquote films for the Paramount streaming service. With the first 2 of these South Park movies will debut before the end of 2021, with more coming early to the year 2027. South Park Guy says, Comedy Central has been our home for 25 years, and we really are happy that they've made a commitment to us for the next 75 years. We can't wait to get back to doing traditional South Park episodes, and now also try out the new formats. It's great to have partners who will always take chances with us. The executives say, Matt and Trey are world-class creatives who brilliantly use their outrageous humor to skewer the absurdities of our culture, and we are excited to expand and deepen our long relationship with them to help fuel Paramount Plus and Comedy Central. Franchising marquee content like South Park and developing new IP with tremendous talents like Matt and Trey is at the heart of our strategy to continue to grow Paramount Plus. I use the term quote unquote films because the South Park movies are more likely to be like the pandemic special and a South Park vaccination special that aired this year, and will not like the super awesome South Park Bigelow and Uncut, which was actually in theaters that came out in 1999. For those of you not keeping track, the new deal will carry the show to its 30th season, and its most recent 23rd season was going to air its 300th episode. South Park fans, Dominic, South Park fan?
Blame Canada. Blame Canada. They're not a real country anyway. Expect my authority.
Jen, is you a South Park fan?
I've only seen 2 episodes, but they seem to do some of the same themes and concepts as my friend's cartoon, and that's interesting. Synchronicity, coincidence.
Just like a famous celebrity using the term Genergy.
A lot of coincidences going on. I don't know.
What about you, Ken? You a South Park fan?
I am. Never laughed harder than in 1999 when that movie came out and hit the big screen. And I'm really pleased about this contract as it expands the South Park cinematic universe.
I didn't know that was a thing. The cinematic universe.
I don't know.
All right,
It
it's a
sounds like
thing
they're
now.
taking over the world.
I'm with you, Ken. I remember I was not a fan of the show at all, South Park, but my manager at Blockbuster Video used to love it, and we had like 3 videotapes. And when we closed, because we weren't allowed to play anything but G-rated movies in
course.
Blockbuster, she used to play them while we were cleaning up the store. So it was inundated in my head, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna make a movie. I might as well check it out because I know the characters." And when I went to the theater, at the beginning, I was like, "Oh, this is all right," and then it just went all rails went off the end. I was like, "Holy crap, this is a hilarious movie!" And I
Yeah.
remember I was telling everybody about how funny it was. And I was in Blockbuster working one day, and I was telling everybody how funny it was. And this kid was overheard me, and goes, "See, Mom, this movie's really funny." And the mom turns to me, she says, "Is the movie really funny?" I go, "Yes, it is." And then she says, "Should he be able to watch it?" I go, "No, he shouldn't." All right. So let's see. Okay. This is a good one. From the "Here Comes the Judge. No, here doesn't come the judge" department. Bailiff Petrie Hawkins Bird, who served on the Judge Judy show for more than 25 years, expressed disappointment after learning that he will not be a part of the judge's next show, Judy Justice. Apparently, as the show is wrapping for its final season, Petrie's wife was scheduled for brain surgery while battling cancer. He says, my assumption is if you were going to do something else, then you were at least going to ask me if I wanted to have the opportunity to audition for the role. I didn't have time to think about it or ask about Judy Justice. It wasn't something until July that I had called the judge and asked, "Hey, should I look for something else, or am I included in the Judy Justice project?" I didn't inquire as to why, but that's her choice. But she did inform me that fundamentally I was priced out as the new bailiff on her new show. My salary wouldn't have been too much. I was curious, how would she know? She didn't even ask me. She didn't even give me the opportunity to have accepted a lower salary. I don't think she understood how confused and dismayed I was after being there for 25 years from the beginning of her career and not being at least given the opportunity to say whether or not I wanted to continue on that relationship. Judge Judy fan. Ken, you a Judge Judy fan?
She went to the same university as me, and she seems to be a woman who knows what she wants and what she likes. I admire that. She was a little scary. But she also is a role model when I have to get something done. So sure, yeah, sure.
All right, Dominic, Judge Judy fan.
I am always a fan of Judge Judy when I'm sitting waiting for my brakes to get fixed in a waiting room, or waiting on someone else's medical appointment, because I take care of a lot of people. Aside from that, I don't really watch Judge Judy, but from what I have seen, one thing I know for certain, and this is similar to my lady when we're at CVS, don't do anything until you were told specifically to do it. The point being, like, my
It seems
lady,
like Judge Judy hangs out in doctors' offices.
she does a lot, yeah. My lady is the queen of buying things at CVS. I have watched her get $150 worth of products for $75. Like, it's amazing. But the thing to that is that I don't move a muscle till she says it's okay. And this connects to Judge Judy, because do not give her extra information. Do not interject. Do not speak unless you are said to speak. And when you are told to speak, only answer exactly what she asks you. So in case of legal advice for all people out there that might need to know, and I learned this from a Spider-Man comic book in which Tony Stark asked Peter Parker, "Do you know what time it is?" And Peter Parker says, "Yeah, it's 5:30. He said, "No, the answer is yes." You answer specifically. So when Judge Judy says, "Do you have the receipt, sir, from the date in question?" you say, "Yes, Your Honor." You don't actually volunteer the receipts. You wait for her to then send said bailiff or a new bailiff over to collect receipts. Then you hand over those receipts. You don't jump ahead of Judge Judy.
What about you, Ken?
And if you do that, you might make it out alive.
Judge Judy has definitely done some excellent relationship advice for listening properly. Yeah, I like when I watch television and it's not a VHS of Doctor Who from 1963, then sometimes I'm coming across Judge Judy. I like strong personalities on TV, especially if you can learn something from them. Judge Judy, Gordon Ramsay, people like that. You watch them and they're very charismatic, which I guess is why they have a TV show. But I like the only kind of reality shows I like is if you can learn something, and she'll explain why the law works a particular way, and you kind of understand it. And it's the same when Gordon Ramsay yells at someone who made a hamburger wrong.
I like Judge Judy. I've watched it on and off throughout the years, but I'm a little sad that she didn't give him the opportunity to be on the new show. It hurts me just a little bit. It diminishes her character in my eyes. Whether she cares or not, probably not, but it's just me.
But maybe he had a hygiene problem that they spoke about. You never know. You never know.
We don't know the whole story. Yes.
Has he been visiting HR more than once?
Who knows?
All right. So from the last bit of news, because this will air right after Halloween, so this is the perfect time for this. From Lee, this is how horror films start department. Airbnb is offering a stay at the home of where much of the original Scream film took place. If you manage to snag a reservation, it says they'll only run you for $5. And from what I understand, it's on a first come, first served basis. With the reservations, you get to be greeted virtually by David Arquette reprising his role as Sheriff Dewey Riley, copies of all 4 Scream films on VHS, of course, plus the ability to call Ghostface, which was the bad guy in the films, to quote, ask any questions or make requests, unquote. The home is open for 3 one-night stays for a room with 4 guests per stay, and visitors will have to pay their own way to get to California, as that's where the house is located. But once they arrive in their house, they'll be treated by a socially distant concierge. Now, I've seen enough horror movies to know this is not what you want to do. It's $5. That's too much of a good deal. Something bad is definitely going to happen.
That makes sense. That's true.
Would you go and pay $5 to go to the Scream house?
No,
spend the night at the Scream house and talk to Ghostface on the phone.
No, I would go visit it, but not stay over. I like to sleep in my own bed. I don't like anyone bothering me. So no
All
way.
Right. What about you, Dominic? Would you pay the $5 to go to the sleep? Would you sleep at the Scream house?
I'm with you that first of all, it just sounds too good to be true. Second of all, I can't believe it's only $5. Third of all, this just shows how little David Arquette has going on in his career.
Well, he is reprising his role for the new Scream movie that's coming out. So
there's another one of those coming out?
There's another one with the original cast, original 3, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, and David Arquette. So, yeah.
First of all, I guess Courtney Cox and David Arquette are on good enough terms that they feel okay working with each other.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. For those who don't remember, they were married once, to which gave hope to every man everywhere and made every woman go, really?
Really? No, I thought she was lucky to have him and vice versa. I thought it made a lot of sense.
Oh, well,
Really?
there you go.
I think David Arquette, he was one of my crushes growing up. Yeah, like probably top 5. So I think she should be like, wow, like David Arquette's adorable. What?
All I can say is that the Anne Bancroft Mel Brooks marriage makes more sense to me than that marriage.
It made a lot of sense to me. See, that's perspective.
So
by the way,
Mel
Brooks being married to Anne Bancroft for the entirety of their lives gives hope to men everywhere. That all you really need is good wit, funny, and being rich. And see,
I think she would be lucky again. I think it's the woman.
I think she was. I know. I think.
Oh my God.
She definitely was. I think they were both very lucky. I think that was an amazing marriage, the two of them.
Wasn't there? I don't know.
But you, in terms of number wise, they didn't match up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, very odd matches. Well, number wise, like the rating.
No. Yeah, in terms of she's a 9, he's not quite a 9 in terms of physical.
I don't know. I'm gonna say I thought it was good matches on both parts.
Wow. All right.
I'm just saying.
Ken, what do you think? Would you go into the Scream house? And B, do you think the numbers match up with the 2 relationships that we're talking about?
So I even if they paid me the $5, I wouldn't go. And I'm thinking that David Arquette may be a candidate for the Negligibles film series
No way.
because he clearly working cheap.
That's true. I mean, look, he's of the 4 Arquette siblings and the 3 that are alive, he is in the bottom.
Yeah.
of,
You know
like,
what?
Arquette.
I gotta say, maybe I have really bad taste in men. I thought I had great taste in men, but maybe I'm just confused. I don't know. I thought he was like one of the top choices.
I'm not saying you have bad taste in men, Jen.
I
However,
might.
the way you've discussed your ex-boyfriend,
This is true. Well, you know, everyone likes to make fun of, you know, the old ball and chain, you know?
that's true.
And anyone who lives with me is familiarity breeds contempt, and he lived with me. But I have to say, I wouldn't say he was almost perfect, but he was quite remarkable. I'm just sometimes things just don't match up. Yeah.
See, there you
Fair
go.
enough.
Just like David Arquette and Courtney Cox.
But he's still a winner. David Arquette is one of the best choices for
if
any
he's
woman
listening
around.
right now, there you go. Jen thinks he's hot.
I mean,
Hey,
listen,
look.
if I was looking for a guy, which I'm not at this exact moment, yeah, David Arquette for sure. But I don't know what he looks like now. But David Arquette and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, oh my God.
All right. So with that, we're gonna take our break. We'll be right back with Game from the Radio.
What do I know?
Hey everybody, this is Todd McFarlane of the record-setting Spawn comic series. And if you're looking for any kind of cool conversation about creators, about entertainment, about all that good stuff, you go to It Came From The Radio. You're listening to the right spot.
This is Quentin Flynn, a popular voice actor known for Axel, Timon, and Raiden from the Metal Gear series. And you're listening to It Came From The Radio. Stick around.
Hey, I'm Mike Kingston, the writer and creator of Headlocks. And I am WWE Hall of Famer Jerry the King Lawler. And guess what you're listening to? You're listening to It Came From The Radio.
Hi, this is Amy Jo Johnson, writer-director from the film The Space Between, and you're listening to It Came From The Radio.
Meet Grimlock having fun on It Came From The Radio. Greg Berger also.
Now, back to our show.
And welcome back to the Game from the Radio, the official of the Big Apple Con. This is your host, Mark Torres speaking. We are here on our 49th live show, courtesy of the East Meadow Public Library, virtually distancing, of course. I'm here with none other than D-Life for Energies, Jenny Feldy.
Oh!
That was well timed. Frontal Comics, Dominic Definition Mansperano.
Hello again.
And our very special guest who we're going to be talking to with and about is none other than L.I. Who super expert Ken Deep.
Hello again.
Before we ask Ken some questions, I just want to mention that the East Meadow Public Library is full of tons and tons and tons of free programming that you guys can go to. Most of them are virtually distanced. Some of them are actually in the building, the brand new building. So for more information, go to www.eastmeadow.info. So Ken.
Wait a minute. I forgot that they were redoing the entire building, weren't they?
Yes, and it's almost finished, on a mistaken.
In a certain way, the entire pandemic and COVID event kind of helped out.
For them, a little bit, yeah.
A little bit. So
Little bit.
maybe they were behind it.
I doubt that.
Anyway, hi, Ken.
The disease originated in a lab in East Meadow.
There you go.
So we've had plenty of event organizers on the show, from the New York Comic Con all the way down to very little conventions. And I always ask them the same question. Why would you possess you to do a convention? Because
and that is
it's extremely difficult thing to pull off. I have seen the behind the scenes of how these things come together, and it is not for the faint of heart. So
Mark,
how did you
I
get
really
into
wish
that?
you would have shown me that before I started this.
Pronto Comics was trying to do like our own ProntoCon. We could never find a venue that we could work with that for our budget. So I'm with Mark. Why? Why does anyone? It's like, why are you trying to throw the biggest party of the year? Why?
Sometimes you have a lot of extra money laying around, and you just want to, instead of lighting it on fire, you just want to get rid of it.
Just Throw some money at that problem.
And so, you know, you just say, well, I'm going to start a convention because I really don't need to eat or pay rent or buy a new car. I actually did it because about 10 years ago, I had a heart attack, and I in my hospital bed, I thought, if I get out of this alive, I'm going to do things that I always really wanted to do. And so on my list of things I had to do, should I survive that, which I did, one of the things at the top of the list was to do a convention. And around the same time, not too long after that, was the Doctor Who 50th anniversary. And I had been waiting around to see if there would be some kind of event in New York. There's a few famous Doctor Who conventions that have been going on for a long time in Chicago and Los Angeles. And of course, where the show originates in the UK, you know, there was a big event in London, but nothing was coming to New York. And we were having like a Christmas party, a holiday party with some friends. And we were talking about this. And I'm like, oh, you know, it doesn't look like there's going to be a Doctor Who convention in our area. And we basically, I said, well, if we don't do it, who's going to do it? And that's really how it started. And, you know, then of course became all the hard stuff like, so how are we going to pay for this? And, you know, do we need insurance and things like that? And actually, that's probably the most shocking part or eye-opening part for me was all the things I had to learn. You know, I knew I had some background in event planning and hospitality and travel and the entertainment business, but I was unprepared for having to learn attrition rates and banqueting laws and all kinds of other things that I just wasn't prepared for. You know, you kind of have this one idea like, okay, this is going to be great because the doctor is going to be there, and then we can have someone interview and ask him about blah. But really, the hard part of the job is, you know, okay, so we're meeting at the hotel and they want to know what color, you know, the chairs need to be or something, and you're like, really? Like, do I have to be here for this? Yeah, and you really have to kind of use every skill that you've ever learned in your life, and then invent a few more on top of that. But probably the reason for doing it, though, in the long run, after doing my first one, was just the enjoyment of seeing other people enjoy the product of your hard work. Some people join like a bowling league or go to karate or Pilates or something, and my friends and I get together and plan a convention all year. That's like our hobby when we hang out, and it is really, really satisfying when people come to your event and you just see them smiling, you see them meeting their heroes and just enjoying it. And there's an enormous satisfaction in that. And
to me,
honestly, if it wasn't for that, I probably would have quit after the first one.
To me, it's interesting that this is what you decided to do after a heart attack, because one would assume you should avoid stress.
Yes.
After the heart attack.
Right.
Right. This just sounds like nothing.
Just a dumb idea all around. Yeah. It was not medically responsible, if that's what.
No.
Yeah.
Not to get too.
But also, it's heartwarming.
Is your heart okay now? Like, is
right.
Well, at this very moment, being 5 weeks out from the convention, the answer is no. But in 6 weeks, it should be just fine.
Like I not that I'm a medical professional, but I don't know. I think this might be the last thing that you should be doing.
No, actually, it's doing just fine. Luckily,
okay.
That was the last time I had it checked, and this year of all years, it's actually been. None of them are ever really stress-free, but it actually has been a little less stressful, only because COVID has imposed limitations on us that you would automatically assume would make the job harder, but it hasn't, because I've actually been very forthcoming with our audience that that we just are not going to be able to deliver this sort of experience that we've done in the past. We didn't know until very recently that we were even going to get British guests into the United States. We didn't know what our capacity limit would be. we didn't know if the governor of the state of New York would change the rules for gathering in groups and masks and all these other things. So there were so many question marks. The only thing we could do is just leave it out there, right? I couldn't stress over that because it was out of my control. So I left that to whatever was going to be, and we'd have to decide a lot of things very late. And that's really what's going on now is, okay, it's 5 weeks, 6 weeks out. Okay, this is probably what's going to happen. Okay, we need to get these things done, because right about now it's looking like everything is happening the way it's going to happen without, I mean, knock on wood, without any like surprises from the universe. I mean, there could be a meteorite that hits the Earth.
To get nightmares about it?
We wouldn't be so lucky.
No, actually, I don't. I actually have never had a dream about the convention, and that's weird to me.
And nothing
I've dreamt
stress
about
related?
past jobs, all kinds of fun stuff. A house with a stream in the middle of it. That seems to be a reoccurring thing.
Huh.
But about the convention, no. And I wish I would, because chances are your dream's going to be way cooler than whatever you're actually going to do. And that would be kind of fun. Yeah.
So no stress related dreams about not being prepared or something going wrong, nothing like that.
Or showing up to the convention naked.
Right.
Why did you go there, Mark?
Yeah.
That's how dreams usually work, isn't that?
That is how dreams usually work. And now that you said that, that's probably going to happen.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, you're
Good job,
probably
everybody.
Prepared. I bet you're prepared. You probably feel confident
See,
then.
that's it. The nakedness is you bearing the fact that maybe you don't have all your ducks in a row. And for all I know, we don't have all our ducks in a row, but you prepare as best as you can. I have an incredible staff, an all volunteer staff, which onto itself is a challenge because it's herding cats. You have a whole lot of people who dedicate their time for no other reason that either A, they really like Doctor Who, or B, they really like me.
Maybe both.
So I have a few of like my longtime friends who are not huge Doctor Who fans, but they're just like, well, if you need my help, I'll be there, that kind of thing. And
you must be very likable then, because I'm actually involved in producing events for a film festival on Saturday. And a film festival there's a lot of parallels between conventions, and the likability of the person who's organizing the convention or the festival is so important. So if you have all these volunteer people, I just have to say, we met once briefly and I remember, and you came off very nice. So you must be a decent person to have all these people that want to help you out.
No, I got plenty of people who hate me, I'm sure, because you can't, you know what it is? It's so hard to make everyone happy. You try. You give it your best shot, and even in that attempt, there's always going to be someone that gets left out, or that you forgot a thing or whatever. And I think enough people know that I try to, again, if they're volunteer, they have to have their individual need met. So for some people, it's just saying thank you. For other people, it's the free pizza or something. Like, there's always something that each person values something a little differently. And you just try to keep that in your head and remember what all those things are, just so that they spend one weekend of year hanging out and doing this. But we all do it basically because we enjoy it. And they're what makes everything go smoothly, not me. A certain chunk of it is planning, but I have an incredible team of people that are just as dedicated, as organized, as thoughtful, take great pride in it. I know they take great pride in it because sometimes I get yelled at when I try to mess around, like, hey, can we try something different? Like, no, we know how this works.
How many people does it take to put this together?
It fluctuates depending on the size of the event, but from 1 to 200, give or take.
Whoa, 200 people organizing
this year
this?
it'll be a lot less because we're in a smaller property, because we're not really risking a lot. I would say this year we'll probably have about a staff of about 60 people for a convention that'll have anywhere between 300 and 500 people. It's not that big this year, but just simply because of COVID. I said from day one when I announced that I was going to actually put an in-person event on was, this is just not a year to risk. You don't take chances in a year like this.
No.
Normally in a convention, when you start selling some tickets, you use some of the money that's coming in to do certain things, and then as you get closer to the event, maybe you start spending the rest of the money. This year we've put every single dollar into a savings account simply because tomorrow the entire event could be off, and there's no way I'm like taking like, I just, oh geez, I'm gonna have to sell my car and pay all these people back. It's just not gonna happen, So to be safe, that's what happened, and we've done a lot of things on credit just to hey, we've been doing these for a while now. Everybody knows who we are. We've never run from our bills. So so you just kind of we've got a reputation where people know the event's going to happen, and so the hotel has been very patient, and the guests have been very patient, and now that it's getting closer and it looks like it's going to be a reality, now we can start saying, okay, well, we owe the hotel money and we owe these people money and whatever, and it becomes safer to use that money. 2 months ago, it was not safe because it all could have still fallen apart, and it still can. So we still have to be careful, but this is not a year for risk. And New York Comic Con, there's just this past weekend of the time of this recording, they just pulled off this huge event in New York City, but they're a professional company. Reed Pop is a huge company worth millions of dollars. They have the capital, they have the resources to do this. And I don't begrudge them. That's what they do for a living. I don't. I'm a teacher and I do this as a hobby, and I do it because I love it. So I can't take the risks that a professional convention can take. I will say to your audience, one of the things that I feel very strongly about, and I really encourage everyone to check out, is to support your fan-run conventions. The professional ones are amazing because they have the ability to pull in the biggest stars and the movie studios. But there are still tons of fan-run conventions from people who love what they do, people like you and me, who I'm a geek. I'm into things. This is how I do my passion. Some people make costumes or bake cookies and, in the shape of their favorite characters. This is how I express my fandom, is by organizing this and bringing people together as a community. And fan-run conventions, they're an entirely different animal. They feel differently than anything you've ever been to. There's a different kind of feeling when you go to something like that, but they rely on you going and supporting, and more importantly, being patient. Not everything is going to be perfect. And a big company, you can say to somebody, hey, I want my money back for this because I'm the customer. In a fan run convention, you're part of a community, and people are there to care for each other, and I care that someone has a good time at my event, and maybe some professional people don't.
Yeah.
Some do. A lot of them do, but some don't. They're just there for the money. I'm not there for the money.
I can jump on to that and say that having been to at least 3 of your conventions, I know Dominic has been, it does have a completely different feel to it. And it's such a positive energy that you don't get at the bigger conventions, because it feels, I guess the term is like homegrown, like, like going to Thanksgiving dinner, like it's just, you feel welcome there. It's not like, you don't feel like corporate feel to it. It's a very odd thing to feel. And then I think it's also this year, but one of the ones I went to was at an airport. So that made it a completely different experience.
So I can tell you that
telling me
story
about the airport one.
You want to hear? I'll give you the quick story of what happened with the airport. It was the first year we did LI Geek, which is our non-Doctor Who convention. It's open to all sci-fi, because I do just Doctor Who, but Doctor Who's my main thing. It's my biggest passion. But I'm also a fan of a ton of other stuff, from Battlestar Galactica, Star Trek, to Game of Thrones. I love a lot of stuff. So my program director, my close friend who I collaborate with this, says to me, what if we did like a sci-fi convention the same way we do the Doctor Who stuff? We just get the stuff we like, And I'm like, okay, let's try it. So we created this. LI Geek is more open to just about anything, whatever we feel like having. And I was under contract with the All-Star Arena in Quorum, I think it is, and they backed out of the contract very last minute because of something happened. This is just my speculation, but Bacon Fest, which is the first event they ever had there, went horribly wrong. This is a few years ago.
Why did it go wrong?
I think they panicked. And so they just pulled the plug on conventions, and they left me with like 2 weeks to go, high and dry. Now I have I have a very nice relationship with the folks from MacArthur Airport. I've done a concert there. I try to book as much travel through there as I can because it's our airport. It's our, it's part of our community, and I believe in Long Island. That's why everything of mine is named Long Island. It's my home. So they very kindly at the last minute, again, because of reputation, said, you can hold your convention at our airport. And I said, well, that's never been done, but we don't really have a choice because with 2 weeks to go, there's no one. If I canceled stuff, I would have lost my shirt. But by doing the convention, I did it in good faith. I could honor the tickets. I could honor all the contracts. And they bent over backwards for me and allowed me to put a convention in an airport. And so there were people getting off the plane from Florida with their, with their colorful shirts on and all their Disney ears and all this stuff, and walking right through the vendor hall, just. And actually, the vendors actually did really well because some people were like, "Is that jewelry? Is that for sale?" And they would just buy stuff. And yeah, and there's the guy from Game of Thrones sitting writing baggage claim,
Did you make Miltos Girolamo sit in baggage claim?
No,
he put him on the little trolley thing where the luggage comes in. He had to ride it.
That's how he signed people's autographs just as he's going by.
Been great, and he could have just been out there with his, his water dancing.
Yeah.
No, he came the year after that one, but it was just, it's that kind of stuff. Like if I ever get around to writing a book, how do I not tell that story? Like this dude held a convention in an airport. Yeah.
I cannot imagine like how
so funny.
That's one of those things people will always talk about it. They'll talk about someone will bring that up long before they'll bring up, another event at the Holiday Inn or another event at the Hyatt.
I do.
Yeah, because it's just so memorable. And yeah, that was just a crazy time. What the hell was I thinking?
I don't know. You were thinking you needed a venue. That's what you were thinking. That's
exactly what I was thinking. I
didn't know that they also. You're saying you did concerts at MacArthur Airport as well?
Yeah, one of the LI Who events, we did a Doctor Who themed concert right in the middle of the airport with the stars of Doctor Who. We brought the TARDIS. We did this whole thing as like a sort of warm up to one of our LI Who's. I think it was the second one, and so on the Thursday night, like before the big 3-day weekend, I had a concert. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I just make more work for myself all the time.
You said you had a concert?
Yeah, we had a concert right in the middle of the airport. Like set up a stage, PA system. Daphne Ashbrook sang. Dominic Glynn, who is one of the composers from Doctor Who, did the theme from the theme from the show live, and some people sang, and it was just, oh my gosh, it was actually a really fun, it was just off the hook. I don't know what I was thinking. I keep saying that. I'm one of those people, I'll throw anything against the wall to see if it'll stick. If it's a reasonable idea, we want to do a concert in an airport. Okay, I'm game.
Wow, that's cool. That's really cool.
So what's the next convention place that you're gonna do? You're gonna be like on a Ferris wheel convention? What's the next one?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe at Adventureland and Farmingdale. Who knows? At this rate, anything goes.
Bowling alley.
Bowling alley. There you go.
Bowling con. Oh my god.
I mean, I was joking, but actually, like the one by could work.
You're laughing. But sure, there's a bowling con out there.
Well, we said it here first. If there isn't,
The 47th annual bowling con in Dubuque.
So I'm thinking something totally not related to bowling at a bowling alley, because that's how my mind thinks.
That's also cool.
Right.
Yeah. Bowl with the stars. Why not?
Sure.
They have Dancing with the Stars. Why not Bowling with the Stars?
Yeah, bowling with the stars. That would be great. I've done different trips as like an add-on to some of the conventions. I took some of the Doctor Who guests to the Statue of Liberty once. They went out to the Hamptons to visit a theater that one of the actors from the show performed at back during World War II.
Wow.
They've done trips to like the wineries and things. We have Long Island's just an amazing place, and we have something for everyone. We're attached to New York City, so you have Broadway and all the amazing things that New York City has to offer. And then there's Long Island, which has wineries and a lighthouse and great restaurants and seafood, and just the list goes on and on. What's not amazing about this place and the history that's here? I mean, oh, you like Billy Joel? Guess what? He's from Long Island.
Mhm.
So we're almost out of time. So we got to do social media time. So where can people find out more about the convention? We're going to buy tickets. Go.
All right. Well, Long Island Doctor Who, fully spelled out, longislanddoctorwho.com is our website. And we're on just about every social media platform because we're responsible 21st century citizens. So on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Tumblr, on YouTube. If you look up Long Island Doctor Who, you'll stumble across it. You'll know it's us because we have a TARDIS logo with the sun going down like the New York State license plate. And that's how you know it's genuine, authentic LI Who. Our next event is November 20th and 21st, 2021 is how you remember it. And it's at the Holiday Inn Long Island Airport East, and that's at exit 63 off the LIE. And there are still tickets available, surprisingly. We've sold out a bunch of them in the past, but like I said, this is a COVID year. I think a lot of people might wait till the last minute to decide to come out. And we have Fraser Hines joining us, Michael Troughton, Michael Jaston, who played the Valyard, and a host of guests and speakers, and there'll be music and costumes and lots of fun. And more importantly, Doctor Who fans will just be together. We'll be together as a community. A lot of us, I'm speaking for myself, but I've heard it on our social media. A lot of us just need it for our mental health, to see our friends and like-minded friends at that. We share a passion, and so we've been hiding in our bunkers from COVID for the last 2 years. It's time to come out and convention again for a little while.
All right. So we're up to our final thoughts. So Dominic, do you have any final thoughts?
If you feel comfortable, go out there and go to a convention. I will remain in my bunker, but if you want to, go out there, go to this convention.
All right. Jen, you have a final thought?
You don't feel comfortable, go out, because some of the best things happen outside your comfort zone.
Interesting. Ken, do you have a final thought?
Yeah, to the point about coming out, if you don't feel comfortable, you shouldn't come. I mean, I'm not, I want my convention to be a big hit, but I also don't want you to be there if you don't want to be there. If you're not comfortable, you shouldn't come. That's the truth. If you're vaccinated, great, come on down. If you feel comfortable, come on down. Masks are going to be required. We asked for either testing or proof of vaccination. And it's not because I'm making any kind of statement. It's just I want it to be the safest I can possibly make it. I didn't know what the rules were going to be. I thought I would just take the safest option. But at the same time, I know there are people that are not comfortable. And if they're not, there's always next year.
So for anyone's listening, you have to either be vaccinated or you have to have a COVID test within how many days of the convention?
A negative test. I think it's 72 hours. The full criteria will be posted on our website probably by Halloween. My business partners are still sorting all the exact stuff out. And then, we're making masks part of our thing. Doctor Who fans are, well, like a lot of people, are very nerdy, but I have a collection of nerdy masks I wear. I have Doctor Who masks that I bought on Redbubble and Etsy and stuff like that. So it's just another accessory. I'm just going to accessorize with more geeky stuff, like no big deal, And how hard is it to keep my friends safe?
All right. So my final thought is this. Ken, thank you for coming back and being a guest on our show. Last time we had you on the show, you were actually in the studio in WGBV, if I'm not mistaken. So Thank you very much. Much continued success. Also want to mention thank you to the East Meadow Public Library for our 49th live show. We're going to have our 50th live show on November the 10th, which is going to be with special guest Ray Felix. He is in charge of the Bronx Heroes Convention, and he's a comic book author and creator. Make sure you guys go to www.eastmeadow.info for more information, sign up for free stuff, and join us next time. So that about does it for this week on It Came From the Radio. Join us right here and every week on this radio station. If you miss any part of the show,
Tough.
go to our website, www.itcamefromradio.com. Look up the archives between in a week or so. Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we will see you next week. I got to hit my button, and here we go.
You've been listening to It Came From the Radio with Mark Torres. The views of the show's hosts and guests did not necessarily reflect that of the management, owners, or staff of the station. We now return you to your earthly scheduled broadcast.